Let's imagine for a moment that you could listen to the inner language of your own body. Not the voice of your thoughts, but the quiet, chemical whispers between your cells, the electrical hum along your nerves, the ancient rhythms of a heart that has known for millennia that to be separated from the tribe is the deepest kind of danger. This is not a metaphor. This is the hidden reality of human physiology. And for a senior living in sustained loneliness, this inner language becomes a scream. It is a scream the body cannot ignore, and to which it responds with a devastating totality. The process begins in the most primal chamber of the self, the limbic brain. Here, the amygdala, a small vigilant sentinel, constantly scans the environment for safety. Its primary gauge for safety has always been connection. The sound of a familiar step, the cadence of a known voice in the next room, the subtle exchange of a glance across a table, these are the signals that tell it all is well. You are among your own. When these signals fade, when days pass in quiet and nights in silence, the sentinel has no backup source of intelligence. It cannot reason that you are simply retired or that your friends have moved away. It can only revert to its oldest programming. Silence equals threat. No signals mean you are exposed, vulnerable, and alone in a dangerous world. So, it flips a switch. A distress signal is fired to the hypothalamus, the brain's command post, which activates the pituitary gland, the master gland, which in turn sends a hormonal telegram to the adrenal glands perched atop your kidneys. The message is one word: mobilize. And from the adrenals pours cortisol. This is the body's primary stress hormone, and in this context, it is not a momentary surge of energy. It becomes a permanent, low-grade flood. Imagine it as a tide that never recedes, soaking every organ, every tissue, in a salty, corrosive bath. Now, follow that tide as it seeps into the fabric of your being. First, it goes to work on your cardiovascular system. Cortisol tells the smooth muscles lining your arteries to constrict, tightening the very pipes that carry life to your brain and heart. Your blood pressure rises, not as a temporary spike, but as a new, grim normal. It instructs your liver to release more glucose into your bloodstream, a prehistoric preparation for fight or flight. But in the stillness of your apartment, this sugar has nowhere to go, gradually numbing your cells to insulin's knock. Simultaneously, it makes your blood platelets, those tiny cellular patches, stickier, increasing the likelihood of a silent, dangerous clot. Your body, in its profound misunderstanding, is preparing for a physical battle that isn't coming by slowly sabotaging the systems that keep you alive. But the cortisol's work is more insidious still. It corrupts the very system designed to protect you, your immune system. Normally, cortisol acts as a powerful anti-inflammatory, a braking mechanism to keep immune responses in check. But under this constant deluge, your immune cells become deaf to its signal. They develop glucocorticoid resistance. It's as if a general is shouting, "Stand down," to an army that can no longer hear the orders. Left without this crucial regulation, the immune system drifts into a state of chaotic low-grade inflammation. This is inflammaging, not the acute hot swelling of an injury, but a slow, cold, systemic rust. This rust settles everywhere. It drifts across the blood-brain barrier into the delicate forest of your neurons. Here, it interferes with the dance of neurotransmitters and stimulates the production of sticky amyloid beta proteins, directly fueling the pathological processes of Alzheimer's and other dementias. The very connections that hold your memories, your personality, your you-ness, begin to fog and fray under this inflammatory mist. At the same time, this same rust circulates back through your body, irritating the linings of your arteries, encouraging plaque to form, and confusing your immune defenses, so they may ignore a budding cancer cell, or conversely, attack your own healthy tissues. Yet the body's betrayal is not complete. This biochemical siege then hijacks the command center of your will, the prefrontal cortex. This is the part of you that plans a future, that chooses a salad over a pastry, that laces up walking shoes despite a passing whim to stay seated. Under the cortisol flood, this rational, executive self is suppressed. Why? Because in a perceived state of emergency, the brain shuts down long-term projects. Survival is the only project. So, motivation evaporates. The future shrinks to the next hour. The energy required to cook a proper meal feels Herculean. The mental focus to manage medications becomes a labyrinth. Sleep, that essential repair state, becomes shallow and fractured as cortisol disrupts the circadian rhythm. In search of respite, the mind often turns to whatever soothes the alarm. Another drink, another pill, another hour of mindless television, the sweet, temporary comfort of sugar and fat. And so, the trap snaps fully shut. The loneliness creates a biological state that drives behaviors which guarantee more loneliness. You are no longer just alone. You are in a physiological prison of your own making, a self-reinforcing cycle of silent, cellular despair. This is the brutal, unromantic truth behind the mortality statistics. The research is not measuring a simple heartache. It is tracking the cumulative, multi-system collapse of a human organism whose foundational need for safety, as signaled by connection, has gone unmet. The body, in its ancient wisdom and tragic error, begins to consume itself. Therefore, the path out must be as physical and deliberate as the path in. It begins not with a grand emotional resolution, but with a tiny, defiant physical signal, a signal sent directly to the amygdala. It is the conscious decision to create a moment of true, present contact. This is not about pouring your heart out to a stranger. It is about the deliberate, focused act of genuine attention. It is holding the gaze of the person serving you coffee and asking sincerely how their morning is going, and then listening fully to the answer. It is calling a daughter not to hear her voice, but to ask a specific question about her project at work, forcing your brain to engage with her world. It is stopping to truly look at a neighbor's garden and inquiring about the name of a flower. In these micro-moments, you are broadcasting a powerful cellular telegram to your own sentinel brain. Attention. A human is here. A human is responding. The world contains connection. From these scattered signals, you must build a rhythm. Loneliness thrives in the formless, unstructured day. Safety is woven from predictability. This means engineering 1 or 2 points in your week that are non-negotiable, not because someone else demands it, but because your biology requires it. It is the Tuesday book club at the library, the Thursday volunteer shift sorting donations, the Saturday morning phone call with an old friend where you discuss an article you've both read. The activity is a container. The reliable, recurring human presence within it is the medicine. This rhythm creates a scaffolding around which a new, fragile sense of belonging can begin to grow. And then, the final, most profound healing, the shift from consumption to contribution. This is the move that breaks the spell of obsolescence. It is the recognition that your accumulated years are not a deficit, but a stockpile of unique value. Purpose becomes the ultimate anti-inflammatory. This could be offering to read to children at a local school, recording your life stories for an archive, teaching a simple craft at a community center, or becoming the designated phone buddy for another isolated person. When you ask, "What can I give?" instead of "Who will care for me?" you fundamentally rewrite the internal narrative. You are no longer a burden on the system. You become a node within it, a source of strength. Your existence has weight, meaning, and necessary function. This sense of generative purpose can quiet the amygdala's alarm at a level no passive social activity can match. This is the long, quiet work of repair. It is fought not on battlefields, but in living rooms, on park benches, over telephone wires, and in the quiet decision to look up and out, rather than down and in. It is the understanding that every conversation, every shared silence, every moment of offered help is a direct pharmacological intervention. It is a dose of the antidote, administered not by a doctor, but by your own courageous will to reconnect. You are telling your body, with each small act, that the long emergency is over. You are signaling to every cell, to that ancient, fearful heart, that the coast is clear, the tribe has been found again, because you have chosen to step back into its current. And in that current, the slow, merciful work of healing can finally begin.